What's going on YouTube? This is your boy Azriel, the one here. Tonight, I don't know how to react. I don't know how to react because, in a way, I expected this. And when I say I expected this, understand, ladies and gentlemen, that I am cynical about a lot of things concerning black folk. It's no secret that I am a harsh critic of the black community. It is no secret that I'm very unfeeling, cold, emotionless when it comes to my own people. And tonight's events are it doesn't come as a shock to me, because I remember in July when I did the Eric Gardner video, I said that this was going to be the result. And I'm not saying this to gloat. I'm saying this because I happened to see what was happening here in New York, and I feared, and I correctly predicted what I feared to happen is going to happen. And it's hard for me to sit here and find something positive to motivate the people. It's kind of hard to even lift a critical finger. I gotta be honest, folks, I'm completely numb. On the one hand, I am a father. I am a father of a 1-year-old. I have godchildren. I have a nephew, and I have a lot of cousins. So I can understand the frustration of the people, the black folk across the nation. I can understand. But on the other, and I can say I can understand because I do feel that there is some questionable things that took place here. I understand a lack of transparency has definitely shown its ugly head. I have seen and I understand people inciting racial tension, like your Al Sharpton and Messi Jackson and crap, and the NAACP, your urban Negro leagues, hell, even the president. I can understand the frustration of the black folk. However, I also cannot abandon my reason and my logic. And at the surface, from what I have seen so far, I have not gone and dug in and saw everything that was just released and looked through it for myself before I made my own conclusion. It looks as if the officer's story checks out. But that's not why I'm making this video. I want you to look at the graphic I've put in this video. The Freedom Riders. The reason I took this graphic and I put it in this video is because they're symbolic for what I'm getting ready to ask of y'all to do. We always say, be the change you want to see. And black folk, I gotta be honest with you. I know that 99.98% of you, and that's a ballpark figure, I'm sure it's a little bit less or somewhat less than what I just quoted, are unhappy with this decision. I know y'all are. So I'm gonna try my very best using this image to convey this point. You must now become a part of the process. Before I get into the meat of the matter, matter of fact, I'm not going to say before, this is going to be a part of the matter. I want y'all to pay attention initially. Right after the verdict was released, the federal government comes in and says, we're going to do our own investigation. I want to point out to you straight off the cuff, if you buy one word those lying bastards in Washington tell you, then you deserve to be duped. I'd like to poignantly remind you, they also promised you such an investigation after Trayvon Martin, and we have not heard one damn word from them. In fact, on every incident in the black community that has sparked national or even global outrage, we have heard we're going to do an investigation. And not one fucking peep from them. So if you believe that shit, and I guess you must believe I want to sell y'all the Brooklyn Bridge too. But I'm not exactly going to hem this all on the Justice Department. Y'all gonna get y'all due later. But now that I've gotten that out of the way, y'all need, as I said, y'all need to be a part of the process. What do I mean? Understandably expect any sort of change to come forward. Y'all need to now start organizing. Now let me put a caveat on that. When I say organize, I don't mean the mob mentality that is running around right now, causing untold fucking levels of havoc. That is far from what the fuck I mean. What I mean is that now, more than ever, you Negroes, and especially those in Ferguson, then statewide and then countrywide, all y'all need to get your asses together. Y'all need to put aside this bullshit ass problems you got with your brother, and you need to get it to fuck together. This is now, y'all, I'm gonna shock a lot of y'all what I'm about to say. And y'all know I am very unfeeling, unrelenting, don't give a shit. And I'm very black and white with y'all. But now, even I can't ignore that there is a problem with the way the police and the minorities of this country, predominantly black and Latino, are having with the police department. Now, this does not exclude young white men, because guess what? Strange as this is going to come out, there are young white men who are facing the same things. This is no longer a race thing, people. This is a survival thing, because it is a class thing. This is the poor, the lower middle class versus the upper echelon. And I'm not saying this to draw hatred on those people who have made their fortune in life. And this is not what I'm saying. But clearly, there is a problem, and it's got to be rectified. And the only reason why, black folk, I've included those other groups, so that you don't sit so high up on the victimization scale, because it does happen to other people. But I'm talking to you because you're the only group of people who has not done something about it yet. That's right, I'm calling y'all lazy. I'm going to say it. Y'all need to pull it together. Now, more than ever, you guys need to put your silly beefs aside. You need to put aside this bickering, this stupid, this idiotic behavior. And y'all need to come up now with a plan of action. Because the way it's looking, we're not going to be here for much longer. And what I mean by that is, eventually, it will deteriorate into all-out war. And believe you me, we are disadvantaged enough as it is. If it goes any worse than this, we're going to go the way of the fucking dinosaur. Y'all need to get your asses involved in the political process. Y'all need to start grooming your children not just to be upstanding citizens, but you need to start grooming your children to be politicians. You need to start grooming your children to be lawmakers. You need to start getting your men and your women council. You need to get them more involved in the assembly, the state senate, whatever it takes. You have got to get your people involved. Do you see these people in the Freedom Riders photo before you? These are people who, despite everything that is going on, they believed in a cause and were willing to risk everything for it. Now, I want you to pay special attention to this photo because these are white folk in this photo. Now, it's strange that I'm using a photo with white folk to talk about a black issue, but I want to pull this to the side for a moment. I'm gonna tie this in for a moment. These white folk in this photo clearly can tell are risking a lot more than you think they are. These are people who are going to get shunned by their own community. These are people who will get dogs and hoses turned on. These are people that were dying, just like Negroes were dying, all to see that the Negro has the right to vote. Now, what does that have to do with what's going on, what I'm talking about? Well, let me explain something to you. These people knew what they were up against, and still, in spite of every negative consequence you could imagine, they still matched the courage to their conviction and executed. What does it have to do with you? Well, black folks, you have the conviction, but you won't bring your courage and your testicular fortitude to the fore to get it done. And I have to ask y'all this question. How many more young black men must be shot down? Justified or unjustified? How many more must be shot down before you decide to get involved in the process? How many? I know it's going to trouble y'all to think about what I'm asking you to do, because it actually asks y'all to think. It asks y'all to get involved in the political process, the thing that you only seem to do when it's time to vote a president, and only when someone promises you something they're not going to fucking deliver and never had any intention. This is where you change your fate. We always say it will never be another one, and every time we say it, it's always another one. We said we didn't want another Trayvon Martin, and we got one in Jordan Davis. We said we didn't want another Jordan Davis, but we had one in Detroit. We say we don't want any more of our young black men shot down, and yet every single time we open our fucking mouths, another one dies. Let me lay it clear for you, because all we're doing is opening our mouths. I get it. Protesting is great, and don't get me twisted. I'm gonna bring you guys coverage as best I can. I want this to get out there and draw attention to the issue as much as I can. But there comes a time where you need to either shit or get off the pot. If y'all are truly tired of your sons, your fathers, your brothers, your boyfriends, your uncles, your husbands, your cousins, your best friend meeting an ignominious end at the barrel of a fucking gun, a blade, being in the wrong place at the wrong fucking time, then seriously, people, you have got to get up off your ass and do something. Do more than just protest. Do more than just march. You have to. I've already seen, ladies and gentlemen, photos and posters saying we need to boycott Black Friday. And I'm going to be honest with y'all, that's a fucking joke. Because if y'all believe in actually making the system pay for this, you just don't boycott for one day. You boycott until y'all get tired. And if it takes them 12 months, 18 months, and the city economy suffers for it, then fine. That's what you got to do. That's how you let these people know you're serious. That's how, ladies and gentlemen, you show you have power. And that's part of getting involved in the process. You guys want to enact civil disobedience? That's fine. Don't just march through the streets. March on City Hall. March on the district attorney's office. March on the police department. That's where you march to. That's where you sit your ass in at. That's where you go. That shows that you know who and where to direct your anger. But more importantly, when it comes time for re-election, vote no confidence in your incumbents. Find somebody. And I'm going to be real with you. The person doesn't have to be black, but he's got to have your interests at heart. Now, that usually entails somebody being black, because who better to have someone, a black man's interest at heart, but another black man? But that's a whole nother topic for a whole nother day. But when it comes down to election time, you vote these fuckers out. You find candidates that's going to represent you. And then you turn around and you keep an eye on him. See, that was the problem that we as a people have with one Barack Hussein Obama. Not only did we elect him twice, we lost track of him. We didn't hold him to his promises. And every now and again, when a national tragedy like this happens, he sticks his 2 cents in. That's our problem, black people. But that's only half the battle. And this is where I have to go in on you a little bit. See, y'all could have avoided a lot of this trouble by trying to instill something in your sons and in your daughters. Y'all, I can't let y'all get away scot-free with the Justice Department, because and I'm going to set aside my earlier statement for a second to deal with this. Y'all are the ones marching, but you're not following up. So they will tell you any fucking thing to make you calm the fuck down and take your back asses home. That's what the fuck they do. And your dumbasses allow it to happen. And then when the next black team will happen, y'all will get up in arms again and riot and throw shit and get your punk asses murdered down like fucking animals in the street. And you'll be screaming, why, oh Lord, why? Let me tell you why it's happening. Because you're not holding up your end. They promise you something, you make sure they keep their end of the fucking bargain. It's that simple. It is that simple. If y'all saying no justice, no peace, then you probably should fucking stand up on your laurels. Get off your laurels and stand up on those words. No justice, no peace. If that means if you gotta walk up to the Justice Department every fucking month on the last day of the week, Friday, and you block his ass from going the fuck home until you get some answers, then that's what the fuck you gotta do. But don't think that because he promised you something, you're gonna get it. If anything, you should have learned from voting Barack Obama into office twice that a politician telling you he's gonna do something for you doesn't mean he's gonna do it. Or he might do it when hell freezes over. So it's up to you. Y'all dropped the ball at Trayvon Martin. Here in New York City, they promised an investigation with Eric Gardner. We haven't heard a fucking word yet. Ezel Ford has faded into obscurity. And Mike Brown's passing is going to be marginalized like every other black death in this country at the hands of the police. And you know what? I blame you. That's right, I blame you. Because at each and every turn, when a young life was snuffed out, y'all did not reactively, you reacted, excuse me, and then you did not proactively go after the department, go after the city government, and make fucking noise until you got the goddamn changes you wanted. This is why I can respect the Jews, because they said it. I kid you not, earlier this summer in Williamsburg, a man hit a married Jewish couple, struck and killed them. The Jews said, if y'all don't do something about it, we will. In 48 hours, the police had that man in custody and had him charged. That's power. That's fucking power. That is, we will do something about it. And not only say you're going to do something about it, but stand behind your fucking threat. And that's not something y'all Negroes do. And until you do, this will continue to fucking happen. I know I got off on a tangent. I'm probably not going to find my way back around to this thought. I may have to caveat some things in the text box, so forgive me on that. But as if I recall, I did say y'all need to. Yes, I think this is a perfect way to go back into it. Y'all need to rebuild y'all's community. Y'all need to start investing in one another. Young black fathers, you need to teach your sons to not fear the police, but know your rights. See, the funny thing is, most black men will never learn their rights until they have been taken advantage of by the system. And to be honest with you, knowing your rights is half the battle. Knowing how to stand up for yourself and not be a complete dipshit with the police is also the other half of the battle. Just because you know your rights don't mean you're going to be an asshole with a cop. It's just not going to work out for you. I'm sorry. I know you don't like it, but I got to tell you that. That's the truth. But like I said, knowing your rights. Not being afraid of the police. I get it. We as a people don't trust them. And who could blame us? Historically, the police have done some shitty things to black folk. But you can overcome that by knowing what your rights are, knowing what their rights are, and standing on your own 2 feet and knowing how to defend yourself in the court of law. Not saying you got to be a lawyer. Let me unpack that for you. When you know your rights and you know the scope and the authority of the police department, your job becomes a lot easier. You know what the correct questions to ask are. You know how to take the appropriate information down, and you know how to make us think about it. That's facts. And black men, we need to teach our sons and our daughters, but predominantly our sons, how to navigate this. Because until we learn for ourselves, we can't teach our sons. And even if we learn, we do our sons a disservice by not training up to know that you don't have to fear a police officer. Women, you need to understand that you need to I won't say watch the company your son keeps, but black women, in the event that you don't have a father in the lives of your sons and your daughters, you need to emphasize that your son needs to know how to deal with the police. You need to understand that your son needs to learn how to go places in groups. And when I mean in groups, I mean a small amount of people. Small enough that people don't think something's going to go down. But that way he's got witnesses. Somebody that he trusts, that you trust. So that if shit happens, we all got a solid account. I know That's a lot of conjecture. Sorry, it is late. It's 3:30 in the morning, and I'm up recording this video when my black ass should be in the bed with my wife. But I just had to do this video. Overall, as a community, black people, y'all need to see that this is a task, and there's going to be things about this task that are going to be daunting, and still you must press on. No amount of emotion, anger, disbelief, rage is going to undo what happened here. But one thing you can bring out of the situation is that you can say this will never happen to another young black man, and you can say with conviction that it will never happen and mean it. But in order for that to happen, black folks, you must get involved in the process. I'm going to keep reiterating this until this sinks into your fucking heads. You must get involved in the process. There is no way, shape, form, fashion it's going to go better for you until you do it. So let's recap. On the political side of this, if you don't trust these politicians, get their asses out. The DA eventually will have to be reelected. Vote no confidence and put a district attorney in there that you trust. That's going to fairly bring charges and not try to get people off. Like this current district attorney in Ferguson, who was asked to recuse himself because of partiality to the police. You need to start getting politicians in your state assembly, your city councils, your mayor's office, the deputy mayor. However you can affect change, get a man in there. At home, I know I didn't do a very good job touching on all of it. But black men, you need to understand that you have no cause or reason to fear the police. Your sons need to understand that they don't need to fear the police. Your daughters, your wives, everybody in your community needs to understand you have no reason to fear the police. You need to know your fucking rights. You need to build bridges to the department. You need to buck the stereotypes. You need to get serious. I done said to y'all need to stop believing in the promises of these bureaucrats in Washington who've only asked you to get them elected and then said fuck you when the rubber meets the road, the shit hits the fan, and all hell breaks loose. Y'all seriously need to stop putting your faith in these fucking charlatans. Do your research for yourself. Find people who is going to represent you. Keep accountability, keep tabs, and put the fucking pressure on. Be the change that you want to see. It doesn't make any goddamn sense to do all this marching and protesting if you're not going to follow up. And for Christ's sakes, if you're going to talk a boycott, don't just pick one fucking day. Black out for as long as you feel like it till you get tired. Eventually, people will notice. People will hear with what the fuck you got to say. Frankly, either they gonna get the fuck on board and talk to you and meet some of your demands, or they gonna suffer. Or they gonna find a way to get their extra money. In which case, hey, it doesn't bother you none. What do I know? I'm just a 27-year-old moderate conservative who doesn't give a fuck about black people, right? Just saying.